सर्वं ब्रह्ममयम् सर्वं ब्रह्ममयम् सर्वं ब्रह्ममयम् सर्वं ब्रह्ममयम् रे 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 सर्वं ब्रह्ममयम् सर्वं ब्रह्ममयम् सर्वं ब्रह्ममयम् रे 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 सर्वं ब्रह्ममयम् सर्वं ब्रह्ममयम् सर्वं ब्रह्ममयम् सर्वं ब्रह्ममयम् सर्वं ब्रह्ममयम् रे 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 सर्वं ब्रह्ममयम्
Namaskaram, sir.
Namaskaram, namaskaram. Can you hear? Audio is clear?
Yes, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. My camera has some problem. I don't know whether we can see the camera.
We can see the camera, but better not to have because it's showing the face and all in a different. Okay, some what do you call some reflection is coming, I believe.
I don't know from.
Yeah, it is the sun. You
Is
can
it?
see your face, but with the sun's this thing.
No, some issue is there. One second. One second. No, it is nothing to do with the light. It is with the camera only.
Oh, okay.
Some problem with the camera. One second. Okay. It's okay now? Better now?
Much better.
Yeah, okay. We'll start. Okay. Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnur Gurur Devo Maheshwarah Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Vasudevasutam Devam Kamsachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Sarvasamshayacchetaram Satchidananda Vigraham Sada Susmera Vadanam Balakrishnam Namamyaham Vidyaranyadvaidyat Vyadheriva Bhavasya hi Vinutyai Pathyanyaswadhyantam Panchadasi Prakaranani Bhakshyani. Om. Good morning and namaskaram to all. So we have been discussing Panchadasi. We are in the second chapter, Bhootha Viveka Prakaranam, and we are in the verse number, we finished up to verse number 19. So here Vidyaranya Swami is explaining the Chandogya Upanishad verse Sadeva Saumya Idamagra Asit Ekameva Advitiyam, and already so far Vidyaranya Swami explained about the word Idam Shabdam is over. Now he is going to explain the phrase Ekameva Advitiyam. Ekam means one, Eva means Eva, Eva means only, Advitiyam without a second. So one only without a second, or without a second one only. So that is Ekameva Advitiyam. So these three words, Ekam Eva Advitiyam, it negates the three forms of Bhedam that we see with every object of this world. Trivida Bhedam that we can see in this universe when we see the various objects of this world. We can see the Bhedam. Bhedam means one is different from the other. So all of these differences that we see in this universe can be classified into these three types of Bhedam. What are they? They are called Swagada Bhedam, Sajatiya Bhedam, Vijatiya Bhedam. Swagada Bhedam means internal difference. Sajatiya Bhedam means member-wise difference within a species. Vijadiya Bhedam means species-wise difference. So these are the three Bhedams that we see in this world. The names are, don't worry about the names. When we discuss this further, it will be very easy for us to understand. No problem at all. These differences are easy to understand, not difficult at all. Only the names are Swagata, Sajatiya, Vijatiya. Okay, suppose you take, for example, a tree. A tree has got various parts in it. There is a trunk, then there is a flowers and there are fruits, leaves, roots, right? So all of these, they are all limbs of the same tree, and they are all, one is different from the other. The leaf is different from the trunk is different from the flower, the fruit appears differently from the root, etc. All of they look differently, smell differently, shape differently, right? Even the texture is different, is it not? This is called Swagata Bhedam. Okay, so in a particular tree, similarly, if you take a man, okay, the head is different, the hand is different, the leg is different, the heart is different, right? The teeth is different, the hair is different. Each avayavam, each anga, one is different from the other. Okay, so this difference is called Swagata Bhedam. So what is internal difference in an object, in one single object? If you take, okay, one member of a species, if you take the differences inside that individual object, if you take a mobile phone also, you can see in the mobile phone also has got the cover is different, right? The internal, the screen is different, the battery is different, right? The chips are different, each is different. So like that, the differences that you find internally is called Swagata Bhedam. Okay, this Bhedam is not there in Brahman, pure existence. Now, this is the Ekam. Now, next is Sajatiya Bhedam. What is Sajatiya Bhedam? Sajatiya Bhedam means inside a species, each members are different. Okay, for example, if you take tree as a species, mango tree is different from a coconut tree, coconut tree is different from a banana tree. Like that, each tree is different, one doesn't look like the other, right? The fruits are different, the leaves are different, the trunk is different, all of this is different from another tree. Similarly, if you take, say, human beings, right? Among human beings also, each one is different from the other, right? A doesn't look like B, Rama doesn't look like Krishna, Krishna doesn't look like, say, Gopal, Gopal doesn't look like Rama, right? So each member appears differently, behaves differently, etc. So this way, whatever the Bhedam, the differences that we see inside a species is called Sajatiya Bhedam. So this Bhedam also does not exist in pure existence, or in Brahman, these differences are not there. So then the next one is Vijatiya Bhedam. Vijatiya Bhedam is interspecies different. Okay, for example, if you take humans, the human is different from the trees. The trees are different from stones. The stones are different from rivers. Okay, so, and if you take the celestial, the planets are different from humans. Okay, and if you take another species, say flies or birds, or the water world, the life form inside the water, the fish. Inside also, the fish is different from crocodiles. Okay, so the interspecies difference, that is called Vijatiya Bhedam. Okay, so these are the three types of differences, okay, in this universe. All of these differences are only applicable to the objects of this world, or in other words, the properties of the substance. Okay, these differences are not there in pure existence. Okay, these attributes of the individuals, okay, of the individual object, inside the object, like the head, the tail, okay, etc., in a particular species, this difference is not there in Brahman, in Atma, or in Sat, existence. Similarly, the differences that we see from a one particular tree to another. Among animals also, if you take, the tiger doesn't look like lion. Okay, in among the tigers, one tiger doesn't look like another tiger. That is how. That is the Swagata Bhedam. The tiger doesn't look like lion. The lion doesn't look like monkey. That is Sajatiya Bhedam. And that is the Sajatiya Bhedam is one tiger doesn't look like another tiger. That is Sajatiya Bhedam. Vijatiya Bhedam is the tigers don't look like lions, don't look like monkeys, don't look like humans, etc. Okay, that is Vijatiya Bhedam. Or the tree doesn't look like a stone, that is Vijatiya Bhedam. Okay, one particular type of tree appear differently than another tree, like mango tree doesn't appear like coconut tree, is Sajatiya Bhedam. Swagata Bhedam is inside the tree, the trunk is different from the leaves. Among humans, if you take, the head doesn't look like hands, each one is different. The heart is different from the lungs, etc. Okay, so this is the Swagata Bhedam. These three types of differences are not there in Brahman, in the existence. Now let us see the verse. Vrikshasya Swagato Bhedaha Patra Pushpa Phaladibihim Vrikshantarat Sajatiyaha Vijatiya Shiladitaha. So, Advitiyam, non-dual, Ekam means one, Eva means only. Okay, so already we explained all this. Vrikshasya Swagato Bhedaha. Inside a tree, whatever the differences that we see is the Swagato Bhedaha. And Patra Pushpa Phaladibihi, that is same thing. Vrikshantarat Sajatiyaha. One tree appears differently than the other tree is Sajatiyaha. Vijatiyaha means the tree is different from Shila, means stones. Okay, so these three types of differences is not there in pure existence. Existence don't have any of these properties. All these are belong to the objects. Objects means the names and forms that we will discuss further. Okay. Yeah, vrikshasya shiladidaha vijatiya bhedaha asti. Like this, if you pen also, if you take pen, anything you can differentiate on the basis of these three: Swagata, Sajatiya, Vijatiya, Bhedas. Okay, all this we can see. Now, we can think of even gods also, right? The next is gods. Say like one god, if you take, say like Ganapati or you take Shiva, or like Mahavishnu, or Brahma, or Skanda, okay, any of these gods also, Naga Devata, or any other monkey god, Hanuman, or any gods, if you take, you will also see such differences between one god, right, Christ or Krishna, okay, or any other, any gods that we have in this universe also will have such differences you will find. So that also is not applicable to Brahman or Sat. Pure existence don't have any bheda. Okay, right. So Chandogya Upanishad says Sat, that is Brahman or God, is free from all these three types of bhedaha. There is absolutely no difference. Sat is Eka Eva Advitiyam. Now we'll move to the next verse, 21st. तथा सद्वस्तुनो भेद त्रयं प्राप्तं निवार्यते ऐक्यावधारण द्वैत प्रतिषेधैः त्रिभिः क्रमात्. तथा, extending in the same way. See, we are used to find this bhedam in everything as a habit. We have a habit of differentiating. Naturally, we tend to find the bhedam. This is called bheda buddhi. We have the natural tendency to see bheda buddhi. This bheda buddhi is there in everything. Whatever we see, this is different from the other. That is different. This is good. That is bad. Okay. This is a Brahmana body. This is some other caste body. Like that. We all have this natural tendency to differentiate one from the other. This Bheda Buddhi is there, embedded inside us. This Bhedam is everything. So what we think? We will think that Sat, when we say Brahman, God, okay, the human brain will think that, okay, this Sat also will have such Bhedams. This is how we think. Okay, normally we think Sat will have these differences. So what Vidyaranya Swami says, this extension of this interpreting things with the Bheda Buddhi, Bhedatrayam, Sadvastunaha Praptam. We may assume that these differences of these types are applicable to the Sadvastu also. Here Vastu means reality. Okay, reality. In the reality also we assume that these Vedams are there. But Upanishad wants to remove this wrong assumption. Upanishad wants to remove this wrong assumption that Nivaryate, it is negating, it removes. What is negated? All these three folds of differences are negated. How? Ekam means Ekam word negates the Swagata Bhedaha. Swagata Bhedam is negated by Ekam. Eva only negates the Sajatiya Bhedam. And Eva Advitiyam, the non-dual, without a second, that negates the Vijatiya Bhedam. So that is what the second verse. Aikyavadharana Dvaita Pradishedaihi. Dvaita Pradishedaihi means without a second. Okay? Dvaita Pradishedam. Advitiyam word negates Vijatiya Bhedam by the word Kramat. It says Kramat, respectively. Aikyam means Ekam. Aikyavadharana Dvaita Pradishedaihi. Aikyam means Ekam. Avadharanam means eva. Avadharanam means eva, only. Ekam eva. Then Dvaita Pradishedam. Dvaita Pradishedam means Advitiyam. Okay, so what was the original Chandogya Upanishad verse? Ekameva Advitiyam. Okay, Sadeva Saumya Idamagra Asid. Sat eva, hey Saumya, my child, Egam eva agre asid. In the beginning, that is before creation, only Sat was there. Sat alone was there. Ekameva Advitiyam. Sadeva Saumya Idam Agra Asid. Idam Agra means already explained. This universe, which is made of Pancha Bhootas, etc., all that which we discussed earlier verses. Idam Agre means before the creation of all of this, all these, before Agre, Ekameva Advitiyam. There was only one. Sat alone was there. Pure existence alone was there before creation. Okay. Now, that Sat was Ekam Eva Advitiyam. No differences at all. Whatever differences that we see is the attributes, or it is only the name and form. Like when there is the example, you take only the example here to drive a point here, to drive a message. What is that? Gold alone is the truth. Right? Whether it is a bangle, or whether it is a necklace, or whether it is a nose stud, or whether it is a chain. Okay? Whatever be where there can be thousands or crores of ornaments, but the essence is only gold. Only take that example here. Not the gold is Brahman. Gold is not Brahman, but understand the message in that. Similarly, clay is the truth, whether it is in the shape of a pot, or in the shape of a brick, or any other vessel. Clay only is the truth. Okay, so that is so we have to take only the essence. Now, perfect example can be given for Brahman. Okay, or existence. Now, let us move to the next verse. Now, Vidyaranya Swami is going to explain what do you mean by existence without swagada sajatiya vijadiya bhedas. So, the second verse, Sato navayava shankyaha tadamsasya nirupanat nama rupena tasyamshau tayoradyapyanudbhavat. Sataha avayavaha. For this Sat, no body parts, no limbs. Na sankyaha tad amsasya anirupanat namarupe tasya amsau na tayoho adya api anudbhavat. So in these two verses, Vidyaranya Swami explains Swagata Bheda Rahita Sat. Sat without internal differences. Okay, one by one, Vidyaranya Swami is going to prove this. What happened? Again, it's gone. It's okay. So in this, Anirupanad, no way to prove that the Sat has internal limbs. There is no way to prove that Sat has internal limbs. Then why can't we take all the names and forms as Sat? What he says, Vidyaranya Swami says, names and forms cannot be part of pure existence, because we are discussing that Sat before the creation. Okay, before the creation. See, the names and forms are available only after the creation, not before. Tayoho anudbhavatadyapi. Those two names and forms are not created before existence. So, how can there be any avayava for the Sat? Sat cannot have avayavas, cannot have limbs, because the limbs came, that is, what are the limbs we are talking about? Names and forms. Okay, a name, a form, okay, these are, they came into existence after Srishti, or in other words, they came into existence after creation. So before creation there were no limbs. Understand? Like head, hands, legs, etc. These are these came into existence after creation. Before these names and forms were appeared, there were no limbs. That is why we are talking about that Sat before creation. So what is Vidyaranya Swami says? Sataha avayavaha. For this Sat, there are no body parts, na sankyaha. No, don't ever doubt it. Okay? Tad amshasya anirupanad. You cannot prove to you, there is no way to prove that Sat has parts. Why? Names and forms. Nama rupe tasya amshauna. There are no parts for the Sat. Tayoho adyabi. These two, the names and forms, anudbhavad. They never exist. They never existed before Srishti. Before Srishti, names and forms never existed, and hence Swagata Bhedam is negated. Let us see what Vidyaranya Swami says again. He continues, how do we know that there were no names and forms before creation? Next verse, 23rd. Nama rupodbhavasyaiva srishtitvat srishtitah pura natayorudbhavat tasmad niramsham sadyatha viyat. Nama rupodbhavasya eva. For the creation, for the udbhavam. Udbhavam means creation of these names and forms. Srishtitvad. Okay, it is the cause or the hetu is Srishti. Srishtitaha pura. Before Srishti, na tayoho udbhavaha. These two could not be present, not possible to be present. Tasmad tad sat niramsham. The Sat is no amsham. There are no parts, or there are no parts for this Brahman or existence. Without any internal differences are not there, because there were no parts. When there are parts, then only you have internal differences. There are no parts. What do you mean by parts? The appearance, names and forms. Okay. Right. Now let us go to the how he explains. Are there parts avayavam? Suppose you assume there are parts for this Sat existence. So either there are two possible. One possibility is the parts are to be Chaitanya. Right? If you say that the parts are Chaitanya, or if it is Chaitanyam, how that avayavam can be different from Chaitanyam? Okay? So the limbs, if you say Chaitanam, okay? Chaitanya means non-matter, remember. Chaitanyam is non-matter. Then how, if it is Chaitanam, non-matter, how it is different from Sat? It has to be Sat only. And if you say it is Achaitanam, if it is matter, how then the Chaitanyam has to be matter. Right? Chaitanyam is non-matter. So it is not, it is there. So that means it proves that there were no limbs for the Sat before creation. See, example. From example we will come to know is very easily. Suppose a carpenter creates a shape, a table, a shape, table we say. Say he is creating a table. We don't know the name table also. The carpenter gave a shape to the wood. After creation, we give it a name, table. But by giving it a name or by giving it a shape, do we add any 1 gram more to the wood? Whether it is in the shape of a table or another shape and then we gave it a name cot, this names and form, that the name that we give or by the shape, do we add any 100 more grams by the name and shape? No. So assume there is some gold. Okay? You give it a shape. And that shape that you gave to that gold, say necklace. You gave it a name, necklace. By shaping the gold into a particular form and giving it a name, do we add any more grams to gold? No. That means names and forms don't add anything to the substance. So this is what we call it as creation. The creation means giving it a shape and giving it a name. Okay? So this nama rupam, before the names and forms, before which we call as creation, there were no names and forms. So after creation only we give it a name and form, with which we say this is head, this is hand, this is leg, etc. So these names and forms does not add anything more to the substance, and hence before creation there were no names and forms, and also there were no limbs at all. That means originally whatever the names and forms that we see in this universe is or was only existence. Okay? That is what it means. But the problem is we always think of something, we cannot think. How can we think of something without partless? It is very difficult. Because anything we think, it should have a name, it should have a shape. Right? That is our natural tendency. This is how we are tuned to. But what Vidyaranya Swami says, there is one thing. What is that? न तयोर उद्भवस तस्माद निरंशम सद्यथा वियत. One example he is giving, yatha viyat, similar to akasha. One example he is giving, what is that? We have given a name Akasha. Akasha is not Brahman, but Akasha, space. Akasha means space, which is close to Brahman. Because you cannot divide Akasha. Space, you cannot divide. We think there is pot space, right? There is a space inside a pot and there is a space inside a room, etc. Ghatakasha, Matakasha, etc. But actually, will you be able to cut it? We can tell, okay, bring some water in a pot. Okay? Bring some fire. We can tell, bring some fire, bring some water, bring some stone, you can say. Even air also you can say, bring some air. We have got air cylinders, Okay, balloons and all we contain air. Okay, or other gases. Gases are all part of air only. Some you can carry all this. Air you can carry. But have we ever heard bring some space? Because there is no space without space. Everything needs space or everything is in space. So there is not a single point where there is no space. That is the reason we are not bringing space. Otherwise we will say here there is no space, bring some space from there. Like how we bring water and air, etc. So the space is all pervading and unmoving. It is there everywhere. Okay, in the present context, unmoving. With respect to earth, water, etc., unmoving. We know that space is expanding, space is moving, etc. Leave it. So we can, at the moment, we can think of space as unmoving, which is close to Brahman. The only thing that is unmoving is Brahman. The Brahman only is unmoving. Everything is a movement in Brahman. Okay, so the closest example is Vyat Akasham. Akasham is all pervading, which there is no bhedam here. Right? Air also you can say the quality of air. Here it is 21% oxygen and some other place 18% oxygen. Like that. But whereas space, there is no, you cannot pollute the space. Okay, space is there everywhere, all pervading without any swagada, sajatiya, vijatiya bhedam. That is why Vidyaranya Swami says, Niramsham, there is no part, yatha viyat. And space is also a creation. Why do we know? How come you say space is also creation? Because we have given a name space. Right? Whatever shape it has, we have given a name as space, Akasha. Okay? Right. So, that is close to that. See, Brahman also is a name we have given. Atma is also a name given. But it is only a sound which is pointing to something else. Which is pointing to that ultimate. In reality, all the names and forms that we have given as space, Vayu, Agni, etc., the substance, the Vastu is Brahman. The Vastu is that. You are that. Tattvamasi. I am that. Right? So like that, all those names and forms is pointing to that Sat only. That Sat alone only existed. That Sat alone only is appearing now. And that Sat alone will be tomorrow also. That Sat never dies, never born. Na jayate mriyate va kadachit. Nayam bhutva bhavita va na bhuyaha. Ajo nitya shashvatoyam purano. Na hanyate hanyamane sharire. The same Sat alone existed yesterday, exists now, will exist tomorrow also. Okay, everything else is names and forms. By giving names and forms to anything, we are not adding any substance to it. We are not adding little more, 100 grams more to that Sat. Because you cannot add or you cannot subtract anything from this Sat. No destruction, no adding, no creation in Sat. Okay? Anyway. So, that is why there is Akasha Upasana is there. Space meditation. Sarvamityakashe tat pratishthetupasita pratishthavan bhavati tanmaha ityupasita mahan bhavati tanmana ityupasita manavan bhavati tannama ityupasita namyante esmai kamaha tad brahmetyupasita brahmavan bhavati. Taittiriya Upanishad. So that is the Akasha space meditation it is. So you do upasana that Sarvamiti Akashe. Everything is space only. Everything is space, because from space only everything else has come. Right? So whatever comes from a dog gives birth to a puppy only. That is also a dog child. Similarly, whatever has come from space has to be space. That is the Akasha Upasana, space. You think that everything is space. Like how you think, how we can, even modern science says everything is energy, right? That is Prana Upasana. Everything is prana, everything is energy only. There is nothing else exists other than energy. That itself is a very high level of understanding. Oneness. Okay, so since everything is space, yatha viyat, which is close to Brahman, okay, there is something which we can think of as without any bhedam, without swagada, sajadiya, vijadiya bhedam. We'll move to the next one, 24th verse. Sadantaram sajatiyam tavailakshanya varjanad namarupopadhi bhedam vina naiva satobhida. So the next question is, does existence have sajatiya bhedam? Now we talked about swagata bheda. Does it have any sajatiya bhedam? In case of a tree, there is another tree. In case of a human being, there is another human being. Right? We need two trees. Right? One mango tree, one coconut tree. We need two. Right? Then only we can prove that there is a sajatiya bheda. You need two trees. You need one human being, another one. Then only you can say, oh, he is different from the other one. Like one tree, another tree. So, for Sat also, are there two Sats? Sadantaram. A second existence. Okay. Sajatiyam. Na. There is no another Sat. Okay. So what he says, why? Because Vailakshanya Varjanad. See, to show two existences, you have to show the differences between two existences. Like two colors are needed to differentiate. You need one color red and another say white or blue. You need two colors to distinguish between this and that. Suppose there is only one color. Do we need to call it as red? Right? Similarly, there are no two Sats. There is only one Sat. The Chaitanyam is only one. And hence, there is no Sajatiya Bhedam. Suppose someone says that I will prove there are two existences. Like, say two pens. This is two pens. This pen is different from this pen. Like two pens. Then, what does that mean? So the Purva Pakshi means one who wants to argue, he can say that there are two existences. Why can't we say that? Vidyaranya Swami says, no. The difference belongs to the color difference, the shape difference that is belonging to these two pens, not to the existence. Why? Because existence is not a part, it is not a product or a property of the pen. Okay? Existence is not a part, not a product or not a property of the pen, because existence is an independent entity which pervades and gives or lends existence to these pens. Okay, so it is not limited to the boundary of the pen. Okay, existence continues to survive even after the disappearance of this pen, or the pen get destroyed, but existence remains. Say in case, suppose you take a pot, when you say the pot is destroyed, right, the pot exists, but the pot is destroyed, then pot doesn't exist, but what exists? Clay exists, right? Pot is, clay is, brick is, pen is. Okay, one disappears, but existence doesn't disappear. It exists as, appears as something else. Say human body, it disappears, but it merges with the 5 big elements. If you burn it, if you cremate it, whichever way you do this body, similar to all the bodies, they disappear in the name and shape. Okay, the form disappears and a new form appears and we give it a new name. That's all. But existence doesn't go. Existence is ever there. Actually speaking, everything exists because of existence. So the existence of everything here, or the existence of every part, every name and form here, is borrowed existence. It is borrowed from this Sat. There has to be a Sat, like clay. Clay must be there to have a pot. Gold must be there to have a chain or a bangle or a necklace. Gold must be there. Clay must be there. Existence must be there for all the names and forms that is appearing to you, to me, to the sun, and to the bird or the dog or the river. Okay, so that existence does not have any sajatiya bhedam also. So, nama rupa upadhi bhedam vina, without the differences in the upadhi, the medium is changing, upadhi is changing, sataha bhidana eva, there is no difference, there is no bhedam in sat. The difference is only in the nama and rupa, the names and forms, names and shapes, names and properties, names and gunas, attributes, etc. Existence does not have any bhedam here. Absolutely no bhedam in existence. Now, the last, vijatiya bhedam. So now you say that, okay, there is no bhedam, swagada bhedam is not there in sat, sajatiya bhedam is not there in sat. Does it have vijatiya bhedam? Let us see what Vidyaranya Swami says, 25th verse. Vijatiya masattattu nakhalvastiti gamyate nasyatah pratiyogitvam vijatiyadbhita kutaha. See, what is vijatiya bhedam? Vijatiya bhedam is a tree, the difference between a tree and a stone, or a tree between a tree and a river, right? A tree and a human being. So that means vijatiya bhedam is a tree and a non-tree. Okay? Vijatiya bhedam is the bhedam between X and non-X, man and non-man, tree, non-tree, a stone, non-stone, a pen, non-pen. So similarly, if we have to find a vijatiya bhedam for sat, between Sat and non-Sat. Sat and Asat. Is there a difference between Sat and Asat? Does it have any difference like that? Vijatiyam Asat. Tat to Asat. How there can be a difference between Sat and Asat? Asat means that which does not exist. It is a non-existence. How can there be a challenge between a existence and a non-existence? You need to have a non-existent thing, right, to find a difference between existence. So when the Asat doesn't exist, how there can be a difference, how there is a Bhedam, right? So what Vidyaranya Swami says is, Vijatiya masat tattu nakhal vastiti gamyate nasyata pratiyogitvam vijatiyat bhida kudaha. Vijatiya Bhedam in existence, bhida kudaha. How is it possible to have a Vijatiya Bhedam in existence when the difference, the Bhedam has to be found between existence and non-existence, between Sat and Asat. Asat doesn't exist at all. Then there is no question of difference, because Asat doesn't exist only. So there is no Vijatiya Bhedam at all in Sat, because there is nothing to challenge, nothing. Pratiyogitvam, right? What is that? Pratiyogitvam na. There is no Pratiyogitvam. Pratiyogitvam means Bheda Pratiyogi. We require a Bheda Pratiyogi. Who is Bheda Pratiyogi? Suppose you want to find a difference between a cow. What is the difference of, or the Vijatiya Bhedam for a cow from a horse? The horse is the Bheda Pratiyogi. Okay. So the cow is different from horse. So the horse is the Bheda Pratiyogi or the challenger. Here, if Sat has Vijatiya Bhedam, we require a Bheda Pratiyogi. Okay, and this Veda Pratiyogi is what? Who is Veda Pratiyogi? Asat. So, Veda Pratiyogi for Sat doesn't exist. No Asat. Asat means doesn't exist. So, there is no Vijatiya Bhedam also. And hence, Sat, the pure existence, does not have Swagata, Sajatiya, Vijatiya Bhedam. Upanishad conveys this by saying Sadeva Saumya Idam Agra Asit Ekameva Dvitiyam. Though Sat, before creation, Sat was there, Sat alone was there, there was nothing other than Sat, and that Sat did not have any Swagata Bhedam, did not have any Sajatiya Bhedam, did not have any Vijatiya Bhedam. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Harihi Om Tat Sat Brahmarpanamastu.